part of Beverly Hills you found for Love and Chocolate with Mr. and Mrs. Truffles.
Well, welcome back to the podcast.
Here we are.
For our second ever episode.
It's so exciting. I'm so sorry that our listeners can't see you, because right now you dress like a little snow bunny with a little, I feel like you should have a tiara and you should have just beautiful icicles all around you.
Well, I think I'm still having a little glow from our Valentine's Day week.
Yes.
That
was...
Valentine's week at Beverly Hills Toy Share is, well, let's just say it's the busiest, 2-3 days of our year.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. It's a lot of work, but it's so much fun because everyone's coming to celebrate love.
And you know, my favorite part
What?
is that we have a lot of older customers who come in to buy their Valentine's truffles for their sweetheart. It's usually the husband. And it's a tradition that they've had for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And they tell us these stories. I'm trying to arrange for some of them to come on the podcast.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really so sweet to see what a big part of the love ritual our chocolates play.
But it was a fantastic week. It really was. It's always a celebration. It's always fun. You get an aura from people. People put off an energy. They put off pheromones. And, we've spent time with couples that just have it going on. There's just something about their relationship, the energy, where it fits. It's like a puzzle that just fits. It matches. I mean, I definitely have that with you. And this next couple, they got it too. I mean, Pat and Donna Finn have been together 40 years. They met 40 years ago. And they are so much fun to be around. Pat, first of all, one of the most hilarious people I've ever met. He does stand-up. He came out of Second City. He's done over 200 TV shows and movies, and he's just hilarious. And then Donna is so wonderful and so warm. It's no wonder they've been so happy all these years. They are coming up next. But first, mailbag. We're here. Let's reach in, shall we? Okay, here we go.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Truffles, there is a guy who works in my same office building. I often see him coming and going, and regularly at lunch. I find him very interesting. How do I let him know that I'm interested in him? L from M. Okay, well, L, I would say my best advice to you is shorter skirts, more plunging necklines, and at any opportunity you get to be a little bit extra funny or sweet in front of him, work it, girl.
Yeah. I think what you need to avoid is being too direct.
Don't be too direct.
Don't do it.
You got to let him be the pursuer.
He's got to chase.
Yeah.
And we've seen too many times where the woman was pursuing and it didn't necessarily end well, or it just...
it just didn't have the same magic. If there's a really great analogy that my friend shared with me. It's from a dating book that she read years ago, and it's about the dead moose.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the thing. If a man goes hunting and out in the wilderness and he bags a moose, he is going to be so proud of that moose. He's going to hang the antlers on his wall. He's going to photograph himself with this poor dead moose. He's going to make a rug for the hearth. He's going to fill everybody's freezers, hold a cookout for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Moose burgers.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah. And, that moose is a real point of pride for him.
It's a trophy. It's a real
But
moment.
if that exact same moose had been crossing the street towards his yard and got hit by a truck and just sort of crawled up and died on his doorstep, he's just going to call animal control to take it away.
He's making that one call.
Yeah, he's not going to hang the antlers.
He's not going to eat moose burgers.
No.
No.
And even if he does do those things, he's not photographing himself with this moose, and he's not bragging about it.
No.
He's not making a rug.
No. Poor moose.
So yeah, you don't want to be the dead moose in the doorway. Let him come bag you.
I think there's a song, Dead Moose in the Doorway. Should we sing a few bars?
I'm all ears,
Are
Mr.
you?
Truffle, yeah. I'm all ears, Mr. Truffles.
Dead moose in a doorway. No, we're not going to do that. Well, that's. I think the dead moose analogy is pretty spot on,
Yeah,
Mrs. Truffles.
yeah.
I
Let
think- I
him
think
do the driving. Let him
message
do the
received.
pursuing.
Yeah.
And next question.
Yes.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Truffles, I have been involved with a wonderful man for years. He is truly the love of my life. However, we've yet to actually meet in person.
Oh.
Sometimes it makes me a little nervous about the future together.
Oh.
But I can't imagine life without him. What should I do?
Signed.
Oh, that is from Nervous Nellie.
Oh, I bet. Boy,
I don't know what to say.
I don't want to touch that one. That makes me nervous. It sounds like they've been together for years. She's never met him in person.
I wish I could ask more questions of Nellie. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because
do they just talk on the phone? Do they just text?
there's obviously an emotional connection that she feels very strongly about,
Yeah.
and so, to disengage would probably feel like a death in the family. But to not have that visceral interaction, I mean, it feels a little bit like fantasy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I wish I could ask more questions
Yeah.
about the actual nature of what she's getting out of this. And, I think it is kind of like one of my kids had a long distance relationship during the lockdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like being that he was isolated, it was really nice for him to just have this kind of electronic friend at hand.
Right.
Every moment he could just text them, share his feelings.
Yeah.
Have someone to connect with,
It's nice.
someone getting you through tough times.
Mhm.
I see where that can be very addictive,
Right.
but it can't replace.
Yeah. The problem is we're not mental health professionals.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily an indication of mental health so
No.
much as it's maybe more a thing of a habit. It's just become habit.
Yeah, but also she's not going to be able to meet anyone else as long as that connection is so strong. So it
Yeah.
might be what she wants and needs right now. She might not need the physical. This might be filling her coffers in every way, shape, and form. And that's okay. It's not for us to judge, but I mean, certainly would not work for me if you were just.
Yeah, well, I could see why the future with a person you've never met is a little uncertain.
Yeah.
And I hope that, you're able to either finally get together
Yeah.
or, maybe step back away from this relationship just a little bit, make space for something more tangible.
Mm,
Yeah.
good advice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be right back with Pat and Donna Finn and their story of everlasting love. For over 40 years, Toysher has been a staple in the Beverly Hills community. Like so many other families in the community, our family has had a long-standing love affair with Toysher chocolates. Over the years, we've formed traditions and memories around these extraordinary Swiss chocolates and the enchanting wonderland of fantasy truffle boxes inside our store. Today, our family is proud to be carrying on the Toysher tradition in Beverly Hills. Hello, friends, and welcome back to For Love and Chocolate. This is Mr. Truffles using his radio voice. Hi, Mrs. Truffles.
Hello, Mr. Truffles.
We're so excited. We're always excited, aren't we?
We are so excited.
If you're in
Again,
the room, I
we-
get
we
very
are
excited.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But our guests today are, well, my dear friend Pat Finn and his wife Donna. Now, Pat and I have known each other for probably close to 30 years. Wow. I've never really liked him, but he's always made me laugh. And Donna, who is clearly his better half, I mean, they've been together longer than the pyramids. I feel like they've been together for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Please say hi, friends.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hey,
this is
we're
great.
looking
Thank you
forward
for
to
making
this.
the trip over, guys.
Yeah,
It's,
fantastic.
This is a passion play for us, this podcast. It's
Very
really
cool.
Mrs. Truffles. It was her her idea to do this, and it came out of the fact that in our chocolate shop in the Beverly Hills Toy Show, we have so many couples that come in and they just want to share their origin stories of how they met. We want to hear about how this union
Do you want to
started.
Well,
say anything?
we met in college at Marquette University in Milwaukee. Do you know that?
Yeah.
So I was 19 years old. I am a year older than him, so I was a sophomore and he was a freshman.
Oh, you're freshman. Yeah.
And I actually knew his older brother first because he's 2 years older than me.
Yeah. My older brother Kevin, I'm one of 6. My older brother Kevin went there, and I applied so late, which is so me, that I was put in the temporary housing of the sophomore dorm. Oh. So I didn't so all my friends became sophomores because I didn't know many freshmen. I did after a while, but the people you'd see in the hallways and stuff tended to be sophomores, of which Donna was one, and her friends and stuff. But that's also where, Chris Farley lived there, and Jim Murphy, who works for Pixar, and so we had this instant bond with comedy, and then Donna and all her friends. But it's kind of wild because I literally met my wife at 18, and I played rugby with Chris Farley, and we hit it off, and that's why I'm doing what I do now. So
Isn't that incredible?
Pretty wild.
We talk about the sliding doors all the time. The seminal moments. He comes in, but he's living with the sophomore boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
boys and girls. It was co-ed.
what was the meeting? How did you meet? What was the moment?
It was
Outside Trader Hall. I was with my college roommate, Susan, and she was dating Damien, and they were friends with Kevin Finn.
my
And
brother.
so, her brother. And so we were walking right in front, and then Susan said, "Oh, do you know Kevin Finn's brother, Pat?" And that's how we met.
Yeah.
And it was, well, you had a girlfriend.
Well, that's how it works. I mean, welcome to L.A.
It was Milwaukee.
No, it was. No, I did have a girlfriend, but I knew it wasn't going to last.
Oh, and he didn't know how to do laundry because
That
his
was another
shirt
thing.
was pink.
What? Oh.
And so I
yeah.
saw him in the laundry room, and I'm
Okay.
like, you don't put a red shirt with white things.
Yeah, my friend Chris McConnell and I did laundry, and we thought we were doing well because Chris Farley was next to us with his clothes in a beer box, and he just emptied it. But they were like half-eaten sandwiches, like a license. It was like, remember in Jaws when they cut the thing out, like license plates come out, his hangers. It was like that, and we're like, look at this idiot. And then ours all come out, and it's red, and we had to go to rugby tryouts, and it was only 4 freshmen, and we're next to each other in pink socks, pink It was so bad. It was just like, but we ended up getting on the team. And
Marquette's colors were not pink and blue.
no,
No,
I
they were
wish.
not.
No, kidding. It's not. But yeah, so we
So I would say when you said first date,
Yeah.
there really wasn't one in college. You were like, I'll see you at the bar
At least
later.
Marquette,
Okay.
yeah.
And then I had all my friends, he had all his, and then we would just meet up at
So
the bar.
when was the first kiss? That's maybe
I'm
even before
old.
the first
That
date,
was like-
yeah?
No,
was
it's a great
19.
question. I like I said, we were friends first,
Yeah.
which was really cool, and then it just kind of. I don't know if like Sharon or your roommate or somebody was like, "Wow, you and Donna hit it off," or whatever, and it just kind of we slowly started going out.
Yeah,
I think.
I guess. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
No.
I know. I wish it was like, oh, the moon landing was on, and there we were, and I got her flowers, and John
Oh, and I asked you to
Glenn.
Schrader dance, and
We did.
he came. Well, first he showed up, and he realized people were bringing flowers, and he didn't have any, so he took a flower out of the hotel lobby, and I still have it.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly.
It's like a pink fake rose.
Sweet.
love
I'm
that.
no longer allowed to stay there, but still borrowed. but and I had like a Michael J. Fox tie. Remember the square ones at the bottom? Knit?
yes.
You couldn't even tie them. It was
Yes.
weird fabric.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what you were wearing?
I didn't know what else to
That was a
wear.
good look.
I wasn't the savviest.
You had the great Santini haircut?
Yeah, I had like, I forgot my brush for my hair. And so I was like, $4 for a haircut? No. And so I literally turned into like Gabe Kaplan with this huge head of curly hair.
Oh.
And I came home and everyone thought I got a perm. Because normally I would like, did you get a perm? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to spend $11 on whatever it costs on a perm. But yeah, it was crazy.
And I still liked him.
She
He
did.
gave hair and all.
Well, that's love.
Yeah, when we still have a picture of our first day, like the first, it's us near the stage at the dance. We're both sitting down taking a break. I don't even know who took it, but
So that was a first date.
Yeah, I guess it would
I
be. It was
guess
the
that's when
Schrader
we
dance,
actually went
the
out.
dorm dance.
Or if my dad came up and he'd be like, "Your dad's in town. We should take him to Saz's."
That was a rib
And
joint. That's where
so
like
my
the fancy
dad always
thing
took
goes.
us.
And then it was nice because it'd be like, Wisconsin, so it's like negative 20.
Yeah.
And so he'd go to drop me off, and then Donna would say, "Oh, here's his house, the blue one." And I'm like, "No," and then she would kick me. And then I realized she'd give me a look, and I had to get out in the freezing cold and go up to a house that wasn't mine, but it was one of the nicer houses on campus, and like kind of like give it a little wave and turn
Pretend like you're-
They had this, and then when the car left, I had to walk like 4 blocks to the house that I was in. That, to his justice, it was condemned. So I
Condemned.
Yeah,
They actually had the sign on the door.
like that big orange sign. No, and Donna's like, "I am not taking my dad to that house." It's a fixer-upper. It's
a
Jane.
Fine.
Yes.
I'm very talented.
With all of this kind of fun, kind of finally getting together, when did you know that you were in love? When did you realize that?
Oh, I think because we were friends first.
Is
So
there
I
a
think right
moment?
away.
Yeah.
How did the proposal go down?
You can tell a story about when you told your mom that.
Well, it was one of those things I was just kind of. My parents don't drink. They're wonderful people. Not that somebody who drinks isn't a wonderful person. That came out awful. Like they don't drink, but they're still okay. You could paddle around with them. But she goes to church every day. She's incredibly saintly, and she's a big fan of like love and grandchildren and all that stuff. And
I think she was just glad that you found somebody to take care of him.
And, and it's like I said, one of 6. And I remember I was kind of hungover, and I said, she goes, "Donna's the best." And I said, yeah, I think I'm gonna ask her to marry me. And the word "someday" never came out because of the screech of the car. And she goes, "This is wonderful news, wonderful. I'm gonna call my friend, and we're gonna go shopping for rings and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, shoot." And she was all in on it.
I can thank Betty Finn.
Yeah, I borrowed money from my brother Tommy and paid it off monthly. And then the final third, I painted his house to pay it off. When he helped me and got me
That's
pizza.
romantic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
Are
it
you
was
kidding
really-
me.
Yeah,
And then
it
we
was-
got engaged at Tommy's house
We did. We got
in
engaged.
Indianapolis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tommy Finn's house?
Yeah.
So how did that happen? Tell us were you surprised?
Apparently, I was the only one who didn't know
Okay.
that was coming
Nope,
because
most didn't. Tom did. Debbie did.
Tommy and Debbie, Mickey, Henry. Is that it?
Yeah, it's my older sister Mickey and her husband Henry, and then the 2 of us. And Donna would always be like, "Oh, I can't wait to ask me to marry me someday. It's going to be so creative." And I'm like, "Hot air balloon or what do you sky rights?" I mean, I don't know. And again, I'm a waiter and I have the money. So I'm talking to my brother Tommy, and he's like, "Let's do something down here when you come down." I'm like, "Oh, sounds great." And I'm like, "What about like Pictionary? What if I drew it?" And we're not a board game family per se. And so we drive down from Chicago, and it was Don and I and my brother-in-law Henry. My sister Mickey was flying in. So we get over the border and to grab a burger or something like that. And Henry's like, "Hey, I'm going to go next door. I'll be right back." And it's a giant fireworks shop because you can't have them in Illinois.
Right.
And I look over, and he's getting a cart. Like a cart. Not even like a little bag you kind of put under your arm. And he's just off the shelves. He buys $500 worth of fireworks. And I'm like, wow, Henry knows. Like, what a cool thing. So we get down there, and the ruse is we're going to play Pictionary, and Tommy's going to go, "Okay, I'll go first." Then Mickey goes second, and then Pat, you go third. I'm like, okay.
And then I said, "Oh, I can't be partners with Pat. No way. He's a horrible drawer. We'll lose." And then Tom goes, "No, every spouse or every couple has to be
With their
a
spouse.
team."
Yeah.
And I should have known then because he was so
Yeah.
like, "Why do you care?"
So weird about it. Yeah.
But then my sister Mickey was like, "Why aren't we going to a bar? Why are we just all of a sudden why are we cracking a board game out of nowhere?" And we're like, "Oh, it'll be fine. Just play one round." And then we're like, "Let's do one round." And then the loser has to buy the first pitcher. And she's like, "Okay, now I'm in." And she's competitive. And so Tommy goes, and she goes, "You got the timer and all this stuff." So then I get the thing, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I put it away, and Tommy's like, "You ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he turns the timer, and I go up, and I'm just shaking. And I'm trying to draw like a church. And Donna's going, "Bank." bang, bang. And I'm like, yeah.
By the way, we're competitive too. So.
And then so I'm trying to draw two people like at the altar of said church. And she's like, somebody cashing a check at the bank. I'm like, it's not a bank. And Mickey's like, you can't talk. And Tommy's like, I think he can talk a little bit. We're okay with that. And then she's like, it's out of, the sand is out of the hourglass. And Tommy knocks it over and he goes, hold on. I don't think it was at all. And he's like, hurry up, Pat. And I'm like, question
and then
mark.
you did a ring, and I go, bag of money. It's a bag of money at the bank. And he goes, it has nothing to do with the bank. And I was like, geez, okay. And then all of a sudden, he kind of like slipped down on the floor. I'm like, what's wrong? Like, and he's on his knee. Did I ever say, oh, you had a question mark?
Yeah. And at the end, you figured it out.
You said it's a ring, maybe.
You said church, altar, two people at the altar, and then I put a question mark.
And then I'm like, what are you doing on the ground? Like, what's going on? And then Mickey's ball, she figured it out. And then, so it was sweet.
Yeah. Oh my
I still have that. I still have it. It's a little picture.
So I have to ask this question. What did you say?
I said yes.
Okay. In the midst of the proposal, you're like yelling at her. It's not a bank.
Oh, God. Well, and then on top of that, then we get up, and all of a sudden, Mickey's like, all right, let's go to the bar. Pat's buying, because that was the longest one in, Meanwhile, you hear, like it was like Iraq. You're like, what's going on? And Henry's out there like, ah. And I'm like, dude, I got to tell you, that's really nice to do for my proposal. And he goes, I had no idea you were getting pulled. I just love fireworks. I was like, wow, that's bizarrely creepy. But yeah, that's how we proposed.
Yep.
So good.
And the wedding, did you guys have a big...
That was in Springfield, Illinois.
Yes.
How long how long was the engagement?
Okay. Oh, it was short. Because I think that was like Valentine's-ish Day around then.
Yeah.
And then when we went to Springfield to look at places, it was one of those, you wait a year and a half or something opened up September 29th. So my mom's like, I can do it that fast or whatever. So
Go, Mom.
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and it was
It was
big.
nice.
We were we were young.
That was 20,
And it was
24.
really like a drunk fest, the party. I mean,
Yeah,
to this day, it was.
No, so
it was.
So my dad, but the wedding was insane because they were like, okay, we could do per person for drinks or just like it's going to be this much. We're assuming everyone's going to have 2.5 drinks. And I'm like,
My mom was
2.5 drinks. I
literally
go, what
like,
if somebody's pregnant? She goes, well, that's allocated in the equation.
my mom said, well, what happens if you run out of beer? They're like, we won't run out of beer. And she goes, no, you don't understand. These are like Marquette kids. Like,
Yeah.
Wait a second. So how many were at the wedding?
probably 250?
Yeah.
250.
Yeah.
And it was a open bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they basically figured, okay, 2.5 beers per person.
Yes.
And you
At an
broke
Irish
them.
wedding, they thought...
And then
I know.
you said, they were like, hey, the wedding planner goes, they're running out of beer. And Pat said, if I were you, I would go get more now before they start doing shots. Because,
Yeah.
all the other stuff was left. Then
it's
the
gonna get
vodka. Nobody drank all that back then. But
And it was also kind of funny because, not funny, but I'm just going to say the reception started at like 5 or 6. And
oh, yeah.
it's 10 o'clock or 10:30. But then everybody kind of beelined to the bar downstairs because that was the night, that was Chris Farley's first night on SNL.
Oh.
And my favorite is Chris is like, this is like 2 months beforehand, calls me, Finnerms, so they announced this, fuck, I don't know if I can make it. I didn't mean to cuss, sorry. I don't know if I can make it to the wedding. When I'm going to tell Lauren, like, God, maybe I can just go to the show and then leave and then fly to Springfield. I'm like, I don't know if there's direct flights from like LaGuardia to Springfield. Like, it's just, he's like, should I just tell him no? Like, no, do it.
Wow.
Like, he's like, but I'm missing your
That's
guys' wedding. I'm like, I
sweetheart.
couldn't be happier that you're missing it for this reason. So it was really cool. But that was his
Right?
first. So we all went
Yeah.
down to watch
So that was what year?
1990.
1990.
Yeah.
September of 90.
So we've been married
Yeah.
33 years.
Yeah, and then we went down to the bar and watched it.
Oh, and they wouldn't
then we
let me
left.
in
Then
my
we left
wedding
and came back
dress.
to so like now.
Back then you didn't change outfits.
Yeah.
Wait. You were in your
So
gown.
we were in
Yeah.
the Hilton,
What do you
and
mean they wouldn't let you in?
they said, because I didn't have an ID.
Right.
And my mom was with me. And
And-
I said, well, I just got married here. You know, we spent a lot of money here.
Yeah.
Let me, you know, whatever.
Right.
We have to see an ID.
Oh.
And I'm in my wedding dress. Wow. And so then, was it me? Or who said, you
Everybody
better
was
let her in or
everybody
this
was-
will clear out fast.
Yeah, like we'll take all these people next door, and the manager's like, "I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do. She doesn't have an ID." And I'm like, "She's got what? Well, she has pockets. It wasn't like a Vera Wang with a special like." So, my uncle Tony, who's Irish, goes, "Pat, what's the problem?" And I told him the problem, and he goes, "All right, Brett, back," and literally walks over to the manager. At the whole time,
He was like Tony Soprano.
He is. The whole time he's got a pinky
Irish
ring.
Yeah,
He's just
the
doing this
Irish
number,
one.
which right there. If somebody's got a pinky ring and they're moving it back and forth, you know, it's just like, I don't know if they're blinding the person or what. But he comes back and he goes, all right, I talked to Nick, manager. He's willing to not card Donna or her mom. I said, I got to see if Pat says that's okay. And I said, yeah, it's fantastic. It's great. Good. What are your demands? I don't really have any demands. And he goes, yeah, what do you want? You know, he's willing to acquiesce to some needs that you might have. I'm like, I don't know. Everybody gets a free drink. And he goes, all right, is that it? I'm like, what else would you do? I'm like, so I go, yeah, everyone gets a free drink. So he comes down and the guy's like sweating. I don't know what my uncle told him.
Oh, my God.
But so then everyone gets a free drink.
So it was fun.
Yeah, it was a great wedding, and it was just so special in that
So
capacity, with Donna's friends and family, and yeah, it was just so. I mean, just such a funny. One of Donna's friends from Springfield, her old man's a firefighter, like in Chicago, and he's from the South Side, and we did this bit at his wedding, where we traded shoes. Like, we should trade shoes, Bob. Yeah, that's a great idea, Pat. So we traded. And
Okay.
he comes up to the dais and he's like, Pat, trade shoes? It's your wedding. I'm like, all right, cool.
I forgot
Traded, and he
about
goes,
that.
oh, yeah. Conversely, he got transferred to
Wilmette.
my parents' neighborhood in North Shore of Chicago.
Yeah.
And by the way, Bob Bochek is like, hey, Pat, if we ever get your parents' address coming up on the ticker, we're going to double time it. Like, you just kind of lollygagged everybody else. Like, it was just such a weird, like, no, give me play this hand, then we'll go to the fire. So,
Wait. I want to hear about the honeymoon.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, well.
jeez.
So you must
It's a
have.
big surprise. We missed the flight to Hawaii. Well, first, we stayed at O'Hare Airport
yeah.
and passed out and woke up like, 3 hours after our flight left?
Yeah,
We were like,
yeah.
crap.
Yeah,
Our
it wasn't
flight
even like,
left.
oh, just, it's like, no, it's like, it's almost there. It's like, yeah, it's on its way back to take the next crew to it.
Yeah.
But I borrowed my Uncle Tony's ring, so that.
Oh, yeah.
You guys still find times to have romantic getaways? Is it happen a lot?
We've gone to Mexico. Yeah.
Cabo.
I will say it was kind of cool that we, for our anniversary, we happened to be at Marquette, so we took a picture on the spot where we met, which was cool. And
That's
then
nice.
for that year, I built things. So I built a
Yeah,
heart.
that's cool.
So it was our 30th anniversary for this one, and it was 15 by 15, so it's 30, and then 30 pieces of 200-year-old barnwood from Michigan, and then I
He's
stenciled
good.
in the exact longitude and latitude where we.
So it's a
met.
heart.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, so romantic.
He does
Yeah.
cute things like
So
that.
what advice would you give? What is your best advice?
I always say
enduring love.
be friends 1st, I think. And humor is huge to me.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
he's like the funniest.
Ugh, you're funny. But that's the other thing too, is that I think it wouldn't work if you weren't funny.
Oh.
Or didn't get it or didn't laugh. Like, you know what I mean? It would be like, oh, that was a zinger. That was a good one. I got nothing on that. And I'm questioning things. Both all
Right.
in on this.
I
Sort it
always
out.
say to my girls, like, don't go out like looking for a boyfriend or a future husband. Go out to have fun, and that fun will find you. Like,
Good
Yeah.
advice.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cliche, but I'm a big, open the door and
Oh, yeah.
just, it's a big deal that they're respected and I go find someone who treats you like I do or I treat mom.
they say, people are always like, marriage is so hard. And I really don't think our marriage is that hard. It's been a blessing to me. I've had the time of my life, and I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're with the right person, marriage isn't hard.
Right.
You know? Have something special, some gifts for you
Oh.
guys.
Oh,
It's
I
gift,
love
I think it's
gifts.
gift bag time.
I love gifts.
Yeah.
This is
Oh,
So this is
man.
just
she's going to walk you through.
Wait, I'm opening it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you get to open it and look at all the gifts in there.
Okay, cool. I was hoping that you would just pour more in this.
I'm listening.
That can happen too. Why don't you pop the other bottle, sweetheart? You get the sparkling rosé.
Oh,
So
Oh,
that is some
wow.
fancy French champagne.
Dang.
Yes,
Nice.
Long Perrier.
That's good for the ride
This
home.
is a romantic weekend in a bag for you.
oh,
too.
that's so sweet. Okay, let's see.
So this is something I personally make. It's my Love and Chocolate body butter,
Can't-
and
No
God, I can't
way.
believe it.
it's all organic, food
Love
grade
it.
quality. Like you could add some sugar to that and eat it, and it would be delicious. But it's like 50% cocoa butter, so it's just amazing for your skin. It's jojoba, vitamin
Ooh, it smells
E,
good.
rosehip oil. Hopefully, it smells like chocolate.
It does.
That's crazy. I love
So
it.
that's something amazing that I made, and then that's my favorite candle. It's the Trader Joe's Crackling Fire candle. So
Does it
I'm
really
telling
crackle?
you.
it crackles
No.
like a fireplace
Oh,
in the room.
I feel like
Trader Joe's makes
I should go- I should go to this
great
Trader
candle.
Joe's.
Wait, I can't open it yet, but
That's so
yay.
cool.
So romantic. Of all the candles.
I'm opening
and-
all the gifts. Sorry, Pat.
Yes, and there's the champagne truffles.
Ooh, this is from your shop.
That is what we're famous for. That is the only truffle in the world made with Dom Perignon champagne.
No way.
It's something, a recipe our factory has been making for 75 years, over 75 years. And we're told the recipe was discovered in a dream. And when you
Really?
taste it, you'll believe it. And we import them all. We fly them in from Zurich.
Where's the factory in Zurich?
It's just right outside Zurich.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's still to this day run by Dolph Teuscher Jr.
Oh, nice.
Who's in his 80s, all his father's original recipes.
That's so cool.
And that's a little bag of just some baked goods and
Man,
some literature.
this
So
is crazy
inside there
nice.
is a champagne truffle cake
We're not going to leave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
made with Dom
The
Perignon
champagne truffle cake is
and some sweetheart cookies.
Wow. That's so...
I think the reason we get so many love stories, and I mean, I know the reason we have so many love stories come into our shop is because of those truffles. A lot of people use them for their weddings.
Oh, that's cool.
They're very popular for Valentine's Day and
bet.
anniversaries. And, even the other day I had a woman, I'm hoping to have her and her husband on the show. On their very first date, he brought her those truffles.
Oh, I love
So
wow.
it's kind of a big deal, and it is what we're famous for.
Well, congrats.
And I think that's what lures all the love stories into
Yeah.
our little,
Well, it's
our
a great-
pretty little shop.
connection, combo. It's
Yeah.
it's
love and chocolate.
Yeah,
Love
right?
and chocolate.
Well, you guys, thank you so much
Oh, thank you.
for
so
joining
much.
us. What fun to hear your origin story and just the love that.
It was fun telling it. I forgot.
No, but it is. It's kind of a neat thing because
Prince origin.
that's what's kind of cool. Was you're telling it, and all of a sudden they can hear it, or
Right.
Well,
going,
we love hearing these stories, and we have found that when people are telling us their origin stories, how much fun they have telling it and just kind of reliving all like that's the most important thing that ever happened to you in your whole life. The most beautiful thing that
Yeah.
ever happened is when you fell in love.
Yeah.
Like everything else came from that. Your whole lives,
No,
and
it's
it's
true.
like such a magical moment, and it's like we love hearing it, and we find that people love telling it. And some people have really remarkable, extraordinary stories. It's kind of fun to get to relive the magic with them for a moment, And you guys have
It's
an amazing
fun.
story. It's
Oh,
so
thanks.
cute and sweet
we're-
and charming.
And Donna said it. We're
34
really,
years.
We're really lucky. Oh.
All right, you guys.
Well, thank you.
Enjoy your little.
Yeah, it's
will.
Yes.
Thank
Enjoy
you
your
so much.
weekend.
ridiculously awesome.
This podcast has been brought to you by Beverly Hills Teuscher Chocolates of Switzerland. Beverly Hills Teuscher at 371 North Camden Drive in Beverly Hills has been serving up truffles, pralines, dipped fruits, marzipans, and our world-famous chocolate bars for over 40 years. So, next time you're in Beverly Hills, why don't you come by and visit or shop online at beverlyhillsteuscher.com. And we're back.
How was that?
And that was more fun than you can shake a stick at. Oh my God. They are so fun. Honestly, my eyes are still watery from laughing so hard. That's like a freight train of fun.
I just love the idea of getting engaged using Pictionary.
Who does that? Pat Finn does
They
that.
are a hoot.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, so cute.
They're so perfect
You're
together.
right about them.
Oh yeah. And that is 40 years together. And
Well, you keep saying 40 years. Now, she said 34 years.
married, but they met back in 83.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
They've known
40
each other
years.
for 40 years. Yeah. And they keep it fresh. They keep it fun. They were a delight. I don't use the word delight often. They were a delight.
It's delightful when you use the word delight, though.
Okay, well, I'll use it more then.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Yeah,
So-
you were right about them, and it's such a contrast from the story we heard last week.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Same, just deep love, but just different ways of getting there, right?
deep love and different journeys and different dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
everybody finds their own style, don't they?
Which is what is going to make this podcast with you such an adventure, because every week it's going to be another couple with another story and another journey, and it's just going to build on itself. And I really think that it's going to resonate with people, because not to be too cliche, but all you need is love, right?
All you need is love.
Yeah.
It's a journey into human experience, and the depths that human experience can reach.
Yeah.
And there's so much focus on breaking tradition these days. There's so much, so many names being thrown around against people who are traditional or abide by traditions. But when we actually get into it and listen to these stories, tradition is very nuanced. It goes in a lot of different directions. It's not a one-size-fits-all tradition. It's not cookie cutter.
No, not at all.
There's so much variation, and it's just so there's so much color and depth to every human being, and every human being has a different story.
And it's so fun not only to hear these origin stories told by the couples that experienced it, but also to see their reactions to each other when they're recounting those stories, right? It's never always the same. They kind of remember it differently, and that adds
You say
another-
tomato, I say tomato.
That's right. But we are not calling the whole thing off, baby. We're going to ride this freight train.
Well, I think that's it for Love and Chocolate today.
I think so, too. Thanks so much for joining us. Again, Pat and Donna Finn, what a pleasure to have them. But guess what? We're going to do it again next week, aren't we?
Can't wait to do it again next week.
Yeah, I always love doing it with you, baby. This is For Love and Chocolate with Mr. and Mrs. Truffles. This show is brought to you by Beverly Hills Toysher Chocolates of Switzerland, home of the world's first and finest champagne truffles. Join us next week for more adventures in everlasting love.